schools pretty much stay right in that 270, 260, 270. I think I saw a couple at 280. I have it. Do you want me to share it with you?
No, the thing is, we
don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah.
So what they do is they say we have to raise lunch prices 10 cents. So that 10 cents is that weighted average. So that's pretty much where we're at right there. So, yeah.
Any questions on the hot lunch prices? Dave?
Aye.
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 Aye. Carried 502. Thanks, Nikki.
Yep.
Resolution 1819231, approval of 2019-2020 capital improvements. Motion? So moved. Motion by Joe, second by Okay. No.
You're not talked about.
Yeah.
You just started. We haven't voted yet. Let's give it an updated sheet. Quotes attached. Thanks, sir. I gave somebody two. We can get the works. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is very similar to what we reviewed last board meeting as far as the capital improvements. It's just basically the same 150,000 that we had budgeted in prior years. This one is, we're basically still looking at trying to save as much as we can for the front of the high school and to wrap up that project. So really, the only difference between the last time you saw this document and this time is I've attached quotes to the back to kind of support the numbers. And then, you know, we've really only allocated about $80,000 to projects throughout the district other than the high school. Notice that I can copy the back. Yeah. Actually, that would be on that document. So on this, what I handed you guys, it doesn't have this second page to it, which is basically what that's showing is there's $1,500 for heating and cooling at the bus garage that's needed. The piece of equipment there is very old, and we're having a few issues with it. Knobs are not working anymore.
Is that the window unit?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when it rains, we seem to get water coming through it, so it's not a good thing. And then the other thing that would be attached is I do have quotes in here for cameras for the buses. So, and there's actually, in that, there's a very large quote back there for, I think it's the last quote, for $16,485. That would equip all 7 buses, but I don't think that's where we need to go yet. I think we need to equip 1 bus that we're having the majority of our problems on with the cameras. So that would be about $2,300.
Yes.
Single out 1 bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can have cameras on buses. Our policies say right in there that we can have that. When you're recording, those are student records, so those are not subject to open records requests. So those are our kids on the bus. If there's an incident, obviously they would be used to support it. If police needed access to it for some reason, they would have to come to us and we'd have to give them permission in order to access it. So we're just looking and we think like we'd like to start with a product and just see how
Try
it
it
works
out.
for us. But there is discussion about, okay, well, how many buses would it be appropriate? And then would you put like, some kind of temporary, just fake ones on, which I've seen that happen also. So hopefully your purpose of cameras is preventative, not reactive.
Correct.
Did you get a price, you said you got a price quote for all of them, and it came up to
Yeah,
$16,000.
it's the last, it's a
Sheet.
provision for the last 2 pages of it.
So one of the things we want to do is we wanted to see how the summer work goes and share some of this information with you as kind of saving the dollars. So we really want to make sure that the front of the school is all cleaned up. That was never in the referendum scope. It's always been from the very beginning communicated that it's not included in the referendum. So.
We've got a lot of concrete and blacktop issues in the front of that high school that really need to be addressed because they're gonna become a safety issue.
No, that's capital maintenance, because there's tons of stuff that was not included in the referendum for capital maintenance. We're fully aware of that, so. We'd like to see how much we can get done this summer. In the meantime, we'll see where the cameras fit into it. The prices for those do not need to be approved by the Board of Education. That's $16,000 if we do that, then it needs to be, but something under $5,000, so we can purchase a camera and let you know that we did it.
I see there's one on the stop arm, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and that's something that we've been experiencing a lot, is people blowing the stop sign. So they just go right through it. It's really difficult as you're driving a bus to get a license plate number. And really the first thing that the officers ask when we send in, an incident, the first thing is, do you have a camera on the bus? So, well, no, we don't, but we do have a license plate number, and then
We
they
used
have to.
to carry one of those little cheap ones, and that didn't catch the plate anymore.
And really, when you're sitting in the driver's seat of the bus, it's, you've got a lot of things going on, and to get a license plate number,
So explain
it's
more about
challenging.
the camera on the bus. Are we specifically looking for activity on the bus with kids, or are we looking for activity dealing with the bus with people running this on their stop sign?
Both,
So
actually.
these cameras pick up both?
There's one camera that would be attached to the stop arm, which would take care of that situation, and then there's 3 cameras inside the bus mounted on the ceiling, which would catch all the seats, and it gives you a bird's eye view.
Okay.
Because
So-
the seats are so high
Yes.
nowadays, you need more cameras.
Correct.
Yeah. And, the kids, when they're in the back of the bus, you cannot see what's happening.
Is there 16,000 worth of projects that you don't need? Me personally, I would like to, and I haven't done that yet. I like to see all the buses out there with cameras and maybe push something else off. Because I think it's a safety thing as well, and to be able to.
Sure. I would just take.
I haven't amended or anything, but, I think that.
We just have a dollar amount that's kind of a saving spot, so it would just be shaved out of there, is what it would do. So like right now, it would be $54,000 that would be allocated for this contingency. And then we would just have you, tonight, would include the $16,000 for the cameras.
If we amended it, how do you guys feel about that?
Did we get 2 or 3 other bids? Or was-
No.
You put it on one,
we didn't do that one.
Okay.
one bus, and then some of the incidents happen on different buses.
That's the thing, and I think there should be a new standard with the buses that we get to go ahead and install cameras. Are we concerned about this company whatsoever? Is there any concerns about the
This-
company? The
no.
cameras, have we heard anything? Have we heard good feedback?
Excellent feedback with this company, that's kind of why I
Check with
picked
other
them.
school districts as well?
I have talked to Lamers, and not specifically the company, but a couple of drivers,
Okay.
and they seem to think that this is the best system.
So do you have a lot of incidents with the blowing the stop sign?
Last month, probably 4.
Really?
So, and really our procedure now is, the driver comes back, we have to fill out a document, we send it to Dodge County Sheriff, and then they take over from there. We've had a couple of people dispute the incidents, So that's where the video would come in and, you know, protect the driver and, you know, because, you know, the first thing they do is ask, is your stop arm working? Well, yeah, it's on video, it shows that it's working. Were you completely stopped? Yeah, we're completely stopped. You know, so there's several things that this would concrete, not just, you know, be our driver's word against their, you know, the other driver.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the 2019-2020 capital improvements to include the $16,000 for the cameras to outfit all the buses on, which, is it Provision Company or which company? Provision.
We would just drop that, kind of that allocation for the cost to complete MHS renovation contingency to 54.6.
Is there a second to the amendment?
I'll second.
Motion by Joel, second by Dave. To include this, all of the cameras for the 7 buses. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, we'll be voting on amending the original resolution to include the cameras for all 7 buses. Joe?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0-2. Now, any discussion on the amended resolution 18-19-231 to include all of the cameras for all of the buses?
Did you walk through the concrete, the first item on here, the 10,000, or are we just gonna put at 10,000?
Yeah, that's, I'm gonna make it work. We're gonna, now that's just the repairs of the sidewalks and part of the middle school.
When you're there, you're done, right?
The other part too is that there's.
We gotta have something to do.
Down here too, if you look at that budget for unexpected expenses, so if we get into the concrete, there's a lot of extras, we'll have some dollars allocated. We want to save those for other unexpected things, but we have $37,000 to cover.
Any other questions?
Only comment I have is, I know we need a storage building badly. The only concern I have is that we be very careful about where we locate it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
that
there's no-
It'll be
does
in the wrong
not,
spot no matter what.
does not become any more obtrusive
Yeah.
on our landscape than absolutely necessary.
This next year will be the planning year for that, so you can see there's no
It's
funds
not-
allocated for it.
It's not in this
So-
year's.
But I think it's coming, you know, we've made significant progress towards district needs, absolutely. So now I think what's gonna happen is one more round of purging. So the building at the high school, fortunately, unfortunately, had all of those offices that are just all over the building. And they weren't learning spaces, but they were storage, you know. So as we go through this, we're just here we go, something old, you're not using it, needs to go. So stuff continues to go up for sale. So we still have, right now though, we're down to the leftovers as far as the kind of furniture and things. So it's like a chair that we tried to sell before that no one wanted. So I think this next year will be major planning for storage, and this summer is gonna be a big deal for us to get organized. So we'll see, this is mostly district, athletic, storage, looking at some of these other small sheds that are located up at the high school that are getting old. And rather than having multiple little sheds, just having one spot. And I think the location's a big deal though, so. We'll make sure that we're fully out there with everybody, transparent, letting people know what we're up to.
So we won't put it in your house.
Any other questions? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 5-0-2.
Thanks very much.
Resolution 1819-232, approval of contract with Green Valley. Motion? Joe, second by Dave. Okay, Kara.
Okay, so Green Valley is a service provider out of Beaver Dam that provides services to adults with developmental disabilities. So we are going to be accessing their services for their 18 to 21 program for a student at Mayville High School next year.
Do you find a job, the Green Valley find a job, or who finds the job for them?
Yeah, well, ideally both. But in this case, Green Valley, that's part of the contract. Green Valley would help the student find employment, maintain that employment, and build the daily living skills she'll need to live independently.
Any questions on this approval for contract for Green Valley? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 502. Resolution 1819233, approval of contract with the Richardson School. Motion?
So moved.
Motion by Dick, second by Joe.
So the Richardson School is a private school based in, well, a lot of places, but this particular campus is in Madison. We contracted service with them for a young learner who is needing some alternative placements to meet his educational needs.
So are we responsible for the transportation?
We are legally responsible for transportation, yes.
Well, could you explain a little more what this is?
Sure. The Richardson School is a therapeutic day school for students with significant behavior challenges, so the emotional learning pieces. So the kids who just can't make it in our public schools for one reason or another, they provide an alternative setting with the therapeutic approach and very rigid days, a smaller setting, high staff to student ratios, so that they can get their needs met through that programming.
What age does the Richardson School, is that a K-12 program?
It is K-12.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is transporting every day?
It is, to and from.
Have we used them before?
We have not, to my knowledge.
So we use our, we have some CISA area consortium services, and as we look at least restricted environment, we look at those first, actually, and then when there's not the right fit there, then we're looking at some other resources. So Kara has been very, it's been a big learning opportunity, I guess I would say, coming into her new position and making sure to find the right fit for some of our students. So we're fortunate to find the Richardson School, and we have other schools we're looking at too coming up here, over down in the Genesee Lake area we're looking at for services. And there are actually sometimes where programs say, they tell us that it's just not the right fit. So then we're looking for other options.
So where is this located then? Where would they be transported to?
The east side of Madison, right by the airport.
Any other questions on this contract? Dick?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried 502. Resolution 1819234, approval of memorandum of understanding with Tina Tank for her position as certified occupational therapist assistant. Motion? So moved. Joe, seconded by? Dave. Okay.
All right, so Tina is a certified occupational therapist assistant, so she will be working under Yoli. We brought her on because the state guidelines for caseload capacities for our physical and occupational therapists are 45, and Yoli has been there all year, if not a little above. So next year, bringing on this position will help to better meet student needs, and the related service of occupational therapy will be delivered with more fidelity, having another body to help with that.
Any questions for Kira on this memorandum of understanding? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 5-0. Thank you, Peter. Resolution 1819235, approval of resignation.
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
Awesome.
second by Jim. Any questions on this request for resignation? Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 5-0.
I'd like to comment a little bit on that CSUN, or the WASB meeting I went to for new
Sure.
new board members and experience. One of the big issues was the Tom Kemp situation. That was the hot topic item. Because there's a lot of teachers that retire and they wanna do volunteer work. If it was a paid position before, you cannot volunteer for that spot. And that surprised a lot of people. There is a law out there that allows you to coach, but that's where that law stopped. It did not include everything else. Even if you volunteer as a school board member, you can't do it for the school district. That was a surprise to a lot of people.
So say that again, Nick?
If you're in the school board, you really can't volunteer for anything.
Anything that's part of the school.
Including sports?
Right, only coaching.
Coaching.
The law was there and they clarified that. I think you did call somebody, didn't you? Has Tom been okay for Tom to do that? And then he come back and
Wow.
they looked further into it and that's their opinion. But you know how a law is. That was their opinion. Take it to court, it might be. But that was a hot topic that night. Because a lot of school districts read Tom in this situation and they couldn't believe it because they're doing it in their school.
Any old business?
What are we doing now? Have we already advertised for?
That's it, now we will. Now, since we've accepted his resignation, now we can advertise for appointment.
You guys want like a month timeline? What's your timeline you'd like to see?
Next board meeting.
Yeah, I would say as soon as possible.
So you can't get it in.
Well, we can't get in this week.
No,
And
that's
then
quick
next week is a
turnaround.
holiday.
Yeah.
Not a problem for us. It would be a problem for people applying
Yeah.
with the timeline would be the deal.
All right. I
So
would say by the second board.
that's what I would do.
Okay.
Okay, great, sounds good.
Additional citizen comments? Announcements? I just want to thank all the board members for attending the teacher appreciation breakfast. I think all of us did. I think Jim and Joe and Dave were at Parkview. Norm and I were at middle school and you were at the high school. So it's good to see the board participating in appreciation of the staff and teachers. So thank you for doing that.
Interesting to be at Parkview. I've been away from the little kids for a long time.
What I found interesting about Parkview is that two teachers were at the door welcoming the learners.
Yeah.
And I said, you do this every time? Yeah, but this is, the sun is shining today, so it's really good to do it today. When it's cold and snowy, I don't like it so much, but the sun's shining, it's a good day to do it. I just thought that was really impressive that you're welcoming the learners like that.
It's fun
So
to
many
be on.
times, just,
All the staff were
Yeah.
appreciative of us being there, providing them with, and thanks to Nikki, she's left, but thanks to Nikki for providing the treats.
Yeah, they gotta hustle, huh?
Yeah.
That they really-
And she's got help, some of the students were helping bring it down, so it was a nice day.
I was quite impressed. Joe and I were walking around before we left. And every room, the kids were reading. And you could tell they were really concentrating on what they were reading. Different from what I'm used to. They're on the floor and everywhere, but they were reading at that time.
Anything else? This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.